Yo, what's up everyone? Era Comics here, and today I'm going to be coming at you with another video review. Today I'm going to be talking about a series that I absolutely loved reading. I've been at it for a little while, and I know if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been talking about it with a bunch of people, I've been posting stuff about it, and today is finally it. But, before we get started on that, I just want to remind you, like, comment, subscribe to these videos. I love doing it with you guys. I will always respond, and I always like having fun with it. So, let's get started on it. Today, I'm going to be talking about The Superior Spider-Man Volume 1. Let me tell you, now you know I'm a big Spider-Man fan. This might be the best run I have read by Spider-Man thus far. I loved every bit of it. I loved reading every single issue. Look at this. Look at this stack. There are 32 issues and 2 annuals. And the 32nd issue has to deal with the beginning of the Edge of the Spider-Verse. Now, when I tell you there was no slow points, there was no letdown issues, there was nothing. This entire stack of issues was perfect. I loved reading all of it by Dan Slott. I think he absolutely killed it. Now, for you guys that don't know, Superior Spider-Man is, I can't exactly remember which issue it was, but I think it's Spider Island that leads into this, or it's like issues, I don't even want to say the wrong ones. It's like 698 or something that leads into 700, and then Spider Island, if that's not Spider Island, I don't know. But Doc Ock takes over Peter Parker's body. They do the old switcheroo. And now Doc Ock is, he's Spider-Man. He's Peter Parker. And he's trying to live his life. He calls himself now the Superior Spider-Man. He's the best, he's the smartest, he's the greatest. He does everything that Peter Parker can't do. And in the beginning, it's actually pretty awesome. Now, obviously, I can't go through every single issue with you. That's boring, it's stupid, it sucks. And I'm just going to talk about the whole thing in general. Maybe I'll go through, I'll hit some strong points, I'll show you some of the cool covers, but, I'm just going to give you a lowdown of it all. So, like I said, Doc Ock takes over Peter Parker's body, and he does it. He starts off with, I'm Superior Spider-Man, I'm the best, I'm the greatest. Because, he's Doc Ock, he's got that stupid mentality that he's better than everyone. And for a little bit, he kind of was. He did Peter Parker's job, but way better. He was more efficient, he was smarter, and he was able to still continue doing the things that Peter Parker couldn't even do. He went back to school, he was able to spend time with family, he was spend time with his love life. Not Mary Jane, I'll fill you in on that too. But, he just did it all. But it came crashing down, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill you in on all these issues. I'm going to do the best I can. So, these early on issues, that's exactly what I was just explaining. Takes over, he's getting used to his body, he's getting used to everything. But Peter Parker is still there. His mind is there, his memories are there, and you kind of see him as like a ghost. So all these early issues till, I don't know, maybe 9 and 10. I think 10 was the end of it. Maybe even 11. I think 11 was it. So I'd say issues maybe 1 through 11. And I'm just going to switch it up right here for you because this is probably one of my favorite issues. This is probably one of the favorite issues I've read. Right here. Is up until this time, Ock is still getting used to the body. He's getting used to Spider-Man. He's making everything better. But he's got this nagging Peter Parker in the back of his head. Always telling him he's got to do the right thing. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. And Doc Ock, you've read all the issues. He's just not going to do that. So what does he do? He tries to delete Peter Parker's memories completely from his brain. He said, I'm done with this. I'm done with him. And that's exactly what this issue is. He goes into the mind. I think it's called the Mindscape. He gets in there and he does whatever he can to wipe out Peter Parker. And in this issue, he does. He wipes him out. He wipes all the memories out. And now the only thing that's left is Doc Ock with his memories and the ones he tapped into from Peter Parker. And that's it. He's now the Superior Spider-Man, and there's no voice in the back of his head. So then it moves on, we got all these other cool issues. They bring in the Lizard, they bring in the Hobgoblin, they bring in the regular Green Goblin, they bring in all these enemies, they bring in all this. And I think what's so cool about this is they keep progressing Doc Ock as a character, but they keep making all these subplots all within a big major plot. And it worked out so well. Dan Slott killed it in this. I loved reading it. And I'm even having a hard time explaining it because all these issues, I remember what's going on in it, and there's just so much. But, so at some point, Doc Ock, people just aren't believing that this isn't Spider-Man anymore. Spider-Man they think this can't be him, this isn't him. He would never do this. They're running all these tests. They're all inconclusive. They're all saying it's obviously Peter Parker. Well, Spider-Man, because some of them don't even know it's him yet. And they're just saying, like, I don't know, it's just a new personality, a new attitude. It's got to be him. Like, Doc Ock, he's killed people. He has killed a few people because he rationalizes it. He's smart. He says, I'm going to capture you. You're going to escape, or someone's going to, like, let you go. And this is just going to be a revolving door of me just capturing you, sending you to the police, and you getting loose. So he's killed a few people. Doc Ock doesn't care. So that's what pretty much sums up these few issues right there. Oh, that's totally out of order. Let me get this real quick. But that's how that story's been. So then it progresses a little bit more. Doc Ock becomes a little bit smarter. Let me find another cool... Oh, yeah. That one's with the Hobgoblin. So the story gets a little bit cooler, and he's progressing as a character. He's progressing as Doc Ock. He finds a new love. He literally tells MJ to just kick rocks, go away, leave me alone. He kind of even tells Aunt May that. Because Aunt May's like, you need to stop hanging out with that Spider-Man. He's a bad guy. And he just, he's off doing his own thing. But all in that same time frame, he finds a new love. Her name's Anna Marie. He even finishes Peter's doctorate, so now he's a doctor, which leads into a lot of conversations for the newest Spider-Man run in Volume 5, because he loses to Parker Industries, but that's a whole nother conversation we'll have another time. So, in these issues that I started off with this one, well, before that, J. Jonah Jameson, he's the mayor, they're fighting, they're doing all that good stuff, and... they're cool with each other. But Spider-Man ends up blackmailing him because J. Jonah Jameson wants him to kill someone, and he does exactly what he asks, but then he blackmails him saying, like, oh, Jay, you wanted me to do this, so now you're going to listen to me, or I'm going to let everyone know that you told me to kill him. So it works out that way. Hobgoblin comes into it. It's the Ulrich, not Kingsley. So, they're fighting over that too. They're trying to say who's the real Hobgoblin, who's not, whatever. As you can tell from this, something major happens to the Hobgoblin. I don't want to get too far into it because I don't want to give the whole thing away. I'm just trying to give you a nice little breakdown of the entire series. 32 issues. Can't go over it all. But, while that goes, even Spider-Man 2099 gets brought into it. Like I said, so much stuff happens, and it's a lot to go over. But I think that's the main point I'm trying to hit, is that they progress Doc Ock as this character, while Peter Parker is still, well, he's technically not even in the back of his brain anymore because he thinks he deleted his memories completely. But later, a little bit later, the 2099 stuff is not bad. It kind of plays a role in the newer run, I think, a little bit. I don't know. They weren't bad, though. They were definitely cool. But they bring Flash Thompson into it, Agent Venom, which is what I'm getting into right now. This one's kind of cool. I'll explain it and show you this. So they bring in Agent Venom. They bring in Venom. Not Eddie Brock, but, the symbiote. And they fight. And Peter Parker, Doc Ock, he realizes it. He's like, this Flash Thompson guy, I can't trust him. I can't trust that symbiote. But he knows with that symbiote, he's going to be way more powerful. So over the next few issues, he does what he can. I'll show you this one because it's awesome. He takes the symbiote. He extracts the symbiote from Flash Thompson, and he realizes that he is now the superior Venom. So he was a superior Spider-Man, and then he became the superior Venom. It was wild. The whole story is so wild. And in the meantime, while all this is going on, the Green Goblin is underground. He's got his own thing going on. He's trying to make something happen, and he's waiting for the right time. So after this is all happening, Green Goblin's slowly making his way to the regular New York City. So in that Green Goblin, Hobgoblin team up a little bit. Team up a little bit. They still kind of aren't digging each other completely, but it turns into the Goblin Nation, which is kind of where like it all ends. Goblin Nation and Goblin, it's Goblin stuff from like issues 25 to the end. It's all straight Green Goblin and Hobgoblin, mainly Green Goblin though, and he's really making his presence known. So that's kind of where that goes. You know, like I said, Green Goblin takes over New York City, and all that happens. Like I said, there's Goblin Nation Part 4. Actually, that's it right there. So I'm not gonna go too into it, but there's a whole Goblin Nation arc on top of the Superior Venom arc, and Spider-Man, Doc Ock, has killed a few people, but the whole time, the cool thing is, I'll just throw this one up because this is actually the last issue. So it's the whole time. I think what I really loved about this is that they're progressing Doc Ock as a character mixed with Peter Parker, and Doc Ock has his personality and he's unwilling to change, but he sees Peter's life and you see him slowly change throughout the entirety of the issues, and he makes his way to the very end. And I think the coolest part is, because remember I talked about his new love, Anna Marie. She played actually a very big role. He loves her very much. It's actually like he loves her so much, and he's willing to do anything for her. And I thought what was really cool is, as this Goblin Nation stuff is going on, Green Goblin captures her, and he realizes he doesn't know what to do. Everything is failing around him. Everything is coming crashing down, and he realizes he failed as Spider-Man. He doesn't have that mindset that Peter Parker does, because he's put himself first for everything, and it's slowly caught up to him to the point where everything has just failed. But at that moment, Peter Parker comes back out. Like his memory, he was still there the whole time, just laying low, waiting for the right time to pop up. And he realizes that he's like, Doc, like, you've screwed everything up. You need me to help you. And you're thinking like, well, after Doc swapped his brain, how's this gonna happen? How's Peter Parker come back? Because obviously he does. Doc Ock is at the point where he realizes that he loves Anna Marie so much, and he has failed at Spider-Man so bad, that he wants to save the love of his life, and the only way that he can do that is swapping back with Peter Parker. So he voluntarily lets Peter Parker's memories and brain and everything just go back into his body, and Doc Ock dies off. And it was such a perfect way to end it. Everything was perfect. I did not dislike anything about this run. And, you know, Peter ends up saving Anna Marie. He ends up coming back and meeting up with MJ, fixing things with Aunt May, and it really was an extremely satisfying ending to an extremely satisfying run. I loved every bit of it, and I know I've kind of been rambling this whole time, but it did a very good job with it, and I can't wait to read Volume 2 and review that with you. The next Spider-Man run I'm going to read, I think it's volume 3. I think that's what it is, the Dan Slott run. It's with the first appearance of Silk. But before I completely finish that off, because like I said, it was an extremely satisfying run, we got issue number 32, which leads into the Edge of the Spider-Verse. So Doc Ock, I guess, is still in the body in this issue, and there's some villain going around killing all the different Spider-Man in different dimensions, and Doc Ock's creating a group that's like, you know, we gotta take this guy down, we gotta do this. And that's where that ends, so I'm interested to read the Edge of the Spider-Verse as well. You already know those are expensive, so I'll figure out how to read it, but that's what they all are. I'm going to be real with you, I haven't read the annuals. I didn't know where they fit in, and it turns out I was way too late on it, so I didn't read them. Let me know if they're good. And that's it. That's it for this review. I'm going to get this... I'm going to get the next series read as fast as I can. I'll try and get it reviewed for you. But that's it. That's the whole Superior Spider-Man run. Like I said, I think it's one of the top, if not the top, runs I've read by Spider-Man. And I think it's definitely worth the read. I think you should invest in it. You never know when this might pop up as a new Spider-Man idea for a movie. It's pretty creative, so possibilities are endless. And it's a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said in the beginning of the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'll always return the comments for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed it. And on that note, have a good night.